Our top story this midday, remembering the life of one of Hampton Road's most generous and talented citizens, Peter G. Decker, Jr.
Known as Uncle Pete to some, he was the single most charitable force in his beloved city of Norfolk. Peter Decker, Jr. died this morning at 4 in the morning after a long and courageous battle with cancer. Andy Fox is here to continue our coverage of the loss of a legend. Hey, Andy.
A legend. That's exactly the right word, and there will never be another Uncle Pete. We can only hope to carry on his legacy, to give back more than you take and make your community a better place to live. Make a difference to all who meet you. That was Uncle Pete. I spent a lot of time with Uncle Pete, and one day he let us take a ride with him for an old Road Rebels report I used to do. This was classic Uncle Pete Decker.
Don't do it! Don't give him a ticket! Please, I'm begging you. Come on, Mr. Downtown Norfolk.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't ever underestimate the power of Pete Decker, and please don't ever tell him he can't sing.
There we go. And did it my way.
Driving with Pete Decker turns into a Broadway show, and we're the audience.
Sometimes I ride around for hours just listening to me. Now that's not
And don't try making a point with Pete Decker. It's a lost cause.
I did put my blinker on.
Did not put your blinker on.
Let me tell you, if I'm a judge and you're not a judge, I say I put my blinker on. Who wins? All right.
Pete wins, of course. He's a substitute district judge. But look at this guy in the back, passing pot in a pipe to the guy in front.
Look, they're smoking pot. Look at.
They slammed on the brakes, made the turn.
There they go. Right there.
That's right. You're in Never Neverland.
Pete's in pursuit, but the pot-smoking guys get away back on the road.
But Pete, you just rolled through that stop sign. You did not.
Oh no, I stopped. I stopped.
You did
I stopped.
not.
Let me tell you something. I'm the lie detector in this car, and the answer is I stopped, and then I went.
And Pete Decker also admits sometimes speeding.
Don't you sometimes go 80?
Well,
80 and a 65.
you know, I don't want to answer that question because I don't feel like going to confession this Saturday.
But today, everyone else is passing us.
Oh my, I can't believe it. And I'm going exactly 55 miles an hour.
Decker hates driving next to speeding motorcycles.
Look at that guy on the motorcycle. You see that?
Now, you asked me the worst thing on the road is a motorcycle that's coming up on your rear end.
Another thing about Pete Decker, he never met a stranger. Took the hedge trimmers from a man he'd never met.
I'm quitting my day job.
We show you that because that's who Uncle Pete was. Pete gave tirelessly to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. This is Uncle Pete with St. Jude founder Danny Thomas. Thomas asked Pete to raise money for St. Jude. Pete responded by raising untold millions. Today, an emotional Norfolk Mayor Paul Frame remembered his friend, and so did law partner Martin Thomas.
A big, good, loving guy. He loved his family. He was a great family man, and he loved this city. And he said it time and time again, and that was one of the things he wanted really on his epitaph, to be known as someone who loved his family and loved his city.
And we will get you that Martin Thomas soundbite for you coming up at 12:30. But Martin Thomas went on to say exactly what the Pete Decker Law Firm has become. It was to do good things for other people, and of course the motto was people helping people, and that is the life of Pete Decker. And we show you the Road Rebel report because that, you know, when you remember Pete Decker, you know, that's who it was, and it's a time to celebrate Pete Decker. And you know, you were his neighbor, and what a neighbor he must have been.
He is so well known for his work for St. Jude's, but he supported so many little causes. You know, I was raising money for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society through Team in Training. He donated. He would, you know, when I would run by around the neighborhood. And you know, on the Hampton Roadshow, we did a story about the mermaids that you see all over Norfolk, and he and his wife were instrumental in bringing that art.
They
community project to Norfolk.
That was a trip they took to Chicago, and they have cows in Chicago, and they said, wouldn't that be great to, let's bring mermaids to Norfolk, and now we have mermaids in Norfolk.
He was also a family man, raised 3 boys.
3 boys.
And celebrated a milestone in his wedding.
Yes, and he and Bess were going to celebrate their 49th wedding anniversary on December 1st.
Yep.
Wasn't meant to be. He was the youngest of 7 from an immigrant from Lebanon, and he made everything he became. He went to William and Mary Law School. He has one of the most powerful law firms in all of Virginia, and he stopped practicing back in the 90s, and he became like what we call the rainmaker. Everyone went to the Decker law firm. A lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people went to the Decker law firm because they knew what they were getting. They were going to get personal attention, and they were going to get someone who cared about them and was going to fight tirelessly for their benefit.
Andy Fox, thank you much.
And we'll be back at 12:30, and also throughout the 90 minutes of news coming up later. We have a reflecting back of Pete Decker. We'll have that for you coming up as well.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Pete Decker Jr.'s memorial service will be held Monday at Norfolk Marriott at 2:30 in the afternoon. And to see more about the life's work and legacy of Pete Decker Jr., head to wavy.com. And there we've also compiled all of your thoughts about him on the featured story page. We've also put together a photo slideshow.